Have you ever wondered why, no matter how many times you recite affirmations in the mirror, you still feel unsatisfied? Have you caught yourself scrolling through endless feeds of empowering quotes only to feel more exhausted than inspired? What if the solution to your feelings of inadequacy isn't to keep convincing yourself you're enough, but to ask, what if you're not? And could that actually be a good thing? Welcome to a new way of thinking about self-worth, fulfillment, and the messages we're fed. Let's dive into a book that turns conventional self-help wisdom upside down. In a world awash with self-help slogans, one message rings out above the rest: you are enough. It's painted across mugs, stitched onto pillows, and blasted across social media. The idea is simple. Everything you need to be happy, fulfilled, and whole is already inside you. But does this message really deliver what it promises, or does it leave us emptier than before? This book challenges the foundation of modern self-esteem culture. Instead of promising that you're enough just as you are, it asks, what if our constant striving and self-obsession isn't the solution, but the problem? The book peels back the layers of self-empowerment, revealing cracks in the philosophy that puts me at the center of everything. The cult of self and its discontents. The modern obsession with self, self-care, self-love, self-empowerment claims to be the key to happiness. But how well is it working? Despite all the encouragement to look inward, anxiety, depression, and feelings of inadequacy are soaring. Why do we feel so empty in a culture that tells us we're perfect? The book explores how self has become a kind of idol and how the relentless quest for validation inside ourselves can actually make us more insecure. The more we search for meaning within, the more we realize how fragile our feelings are. Self-esteem built on affirmation alone is a shaky foundation, one that cracks the moment we mess up, fail, or fall short of our own expectations. The 5 myths of self-empowerment. Central to the book are 5 myths that shape our culture's view of self-worth. 1. You are enough. 2. You determine your truth. 3. You're perfect the way you are. 4. You're entitled to your dreams. 5. You can't love others until you love yourself. Each of these myths is examined, not to tear down self-esteem, but to expose the ways these beliefs actually keep us trapped. The promise of self-sufficiency is seductive, but ultimately delivers disappointment. When we're told we're enough but still feel lacking, we're left with guilt and confusion. If we're supposed to be the source of our own truth and happiness, why do we feel so lost? Facing reality, the limits of self. Instead of denying reality, this book encourages us to face it. We aren't perfect, we aren't always right, we don't always have what it takes, and that's not a flaw in our design. It's a clue to the kind of life we're meant to live. By recognizing our limitations, we begin to understand that we were never meant to be the center of our own universe. The endless striving to be enough is replaced by the freedom of admitting we're not, and that's okay. This shift allows us to stop obsessing over ourselves and start looking outward. The power of dependence. If the self can't give us the security we crave, what can? The book points to the idea that true fulfillment comes from dependence, not independence. It's about recognizing our need for something greater than ourselves, something that doesn't change with our moods or mistakes. By letting go of the exhausting need to prove our worth, we can embrace a life built on grace, purpose, and community. Real self-worth isn't found in the mirror, but in meaningful relationships and in something beyond our own abilities. The danger of my truth. Another core idea challenge is the concept of your truth. Modern culture encourages us to decide what's true for ourselves, as if reality is a matter of personal preference. But this leads to confusion, conflict, and the pressure to constantly redefine ourselves. The book argues that truth by nature is objective. We find peace not by inventing our own reality, but by aligning ourselves with something stable and unchanging. This is liberating because it means we don't have to keep reinventing ourselves or measuring up to impossible standards. The lie of perfection. We're told to embrace our flaws while simultaneously being bombarded by images of perfection. The result? A double bind where we feel guilty for not loving ourselves enough, even as we secretly wish we were different. This book exposes the lie that perfection is attainable or even desirable. Our flaws are not obstacles to be overcome through more self-love, but reminders that we're human. Embracing imperfection allows us to connect more deeply with others because we stop pretending and start being real. The trap of entitlement. Dream big, chase your passions, never settle. These are the mantras of our age. But what happens when dreams don't come true? When hard work doesn't pay off? The belief that we're entitled to whatever we desire leads to disappointment and resentment. Instead, the book encourages gratitude and humility. Life is a gift, not a right. Achievement is something to be grateful for, not demanded. This perspective shift frees us from the tyranny of unmet expectations and helps us find joy in what we have, not just in what we want. Loving others, the real secret. Perhaps the most revolutionary idea is that loving others isn't dependent on first loving ourselves. In fact, focusing less on self and more on serving others is the real secret to a meaningful life. When we shift the spotlight away from our own needs and onto the needs of others, we find the fulfillment self-love could never provide. This outward focus doesn't mean ignoring self-care or neglecting personal growth. But it does mean recognizing that life's greatest joys are found in relationships, purpose, and giving, not in self-obsession. Practical steps. Living a life beyond self. The book doesn't just critique, it offers practical ways to live differently. Acknowledge your limitations. Stop pretending you have it all together. Seek truth, not just affirmation. Build your life on what's real, not what feels good in the moment. Pursue gratitude. Focus on what you have, not what you lack. Serve others. Find meaning in helping, not just in achieving. Rely on something greater than yourself. Whether that's faith, community, or another anchor, step out of self-centeredness. The real freedom, it's not about you. Ultimately, the message is one of liberation. The pressure to be enough is replaced by the freedom to be honest, vulnerable, and dependent. We're not enough on our own, and that's the point. By embracing this reality, we can stop striving, stop comparing, and start living with real purpose. So after peeling back the layers of self-help culture and asking the tough questions, are you still convinced you're enough, or is there a deeper freedom in admitting you're not? Could letting go of the need to be perfect actually set you free to live a life that matters? And what would it look like to move beyond self-obsession and step into a truth that's bigger than you? If today's book made you rethink your approach to self-worth, what other common sense advice deserves a second look? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to BitBooks for more mind-bending reads that challenge the status quo.